Hello everyone. Now we will be doing the play Loyalties by John Galsworthy. So, how far are you willing to go for a friend? Even if, say, he has stolen something, you might lie about it, you might defend him. But what if it becomes much more than a petty theft? It becomes a sin. Would you still defend him? Is that true friendship? Would it not be better if you told him if it was not on the right path? And if you told him which one the right path was? Loyalties is a play about friendship, anti-Semitism and honesty. So let's see where whose loyalties lie. So let's first read the summary of this play. Loyalties is one of the first plays to deal honestly and openly with the problem of anti-Semitism in aristocratic societies. It portrays how people have their loyalties lying in all the wrong places and follow their loyalties instead of fighting for the truth and justice. In the first scene of the play, a theft takes place in Meldon Court, owned by Mr. Charles Windsor, where a theft has taken place. Ferdinand de Lewis reports that the theft of his money to Charles Windsor, only to realize that his so-called friends are more interested in saving their reputation and name in the society than following the right path to find out the truth. This is proven when Charles Windsor hesitates to get the police involved. So, even in our aristocratic societies, we see that people usually do not want to involve police in any matters because they think that it will bring them a bad name and reputation. But in fact, police can actually help us find out who the real culprit is and find out the truth. In this case, a robbery happens at the Meldon Court, which is owned by Mr. Charles Windsor, and Ferdinand de Lewis reports the theft of his money to Mr. Charles Windsor. But just to save his name, he does not want to get the police involved. He does not think that what would be right and what would be wrong. He does not act according to the perimeters of justice, but only and only he thinks of himself and his own name. As the police finally get called and an investigation is begun, many theories are put forth to try and find out who was the culprit, and when de Lewis comes up with the theory of how Captain Ronald Dancy had stolen the money and backs it up with some proof, he is told to keep these accusations to himself with the use of social blackmail. De Lewis agrees to keep quiet until he can prove himself with further proof. But when he realizes that he has been blackballed out of the club, he openly accuses Dancy of the theft in his fury. After a few days full of discussion on the events that took place between de Lewis and Dancy, Dancy is finally proved guilty when the stolen notes are recovered and traced back to him. Dancy's friends all advise him to leave the city and run away. The play ends with the tragic death of Dancy while he hangs himself to avoid getting caught. So here we see that the Dancy was the real culprit, right? But his friend circle, his so-called aristocratic friends, were actually saving him from ruining his reputation, from ruining their own name where the robbery had occurred. So that's why they blackmailed de Lewis and made sure that he did not speak anything. Please note that powerful people have that much power in them to blackmail somebody, right? So what happens next is that finally when de Lewis realizes that something is wrong and they won't be listening to me, they would just keep me blackmailed, then he comes out in the open and accuses Dancy. That's when everybody tells Dancy to run away. They do not support de Lewis, who is right, and they know that he is right. They do not support him. They have misunderstood friendships. They think that they are supporting their friend by encouraging him to do a wrong act. So Dancy runs away, but in the end it is proven that Dancy was wrong, and that's why he gets a just punishment. Actually, he did not even get a punishment, he kind of punished himself because he was so frustrated by being chased that he hanged himself to avoid getting caught. Next, let's see the themes of the play. The first theme is anti-Semitism, that is the prejudices that the Christians had against Jews during the old days, right? The Christians did not like Jews, and that was termed as anti-Semitism. Next theme is loyalty. So we see that loyalty as a word means a lot, but if misplaced, then it can create a havoc. It can create a web of lies and a lot of trauma for everybody, right? Like in this story, just to save Dancy, all of his friends thought that their loyalties were in the right place, but actually they were not. They should have been loyal with the truth, but rather they were loyal with a friend of theirs, and that also for a very wrong reason. So that created a web of lies, and in the end ended up in Dancy hanging himself. Next, the theme is that of an aristocratic society. It shows how much power the aristocrats hold, how they can blackmail somebody and make sure that some truth is not revealed. Themes. Next is misunderstood friendship. Again, all these aristocratic people, they misled their friend. Instead of making him run away and supporting him and encouraging him in a wrong act, they should have rather said that no, reveal yourself, we will help you go through this intense, right? That would have been true friendship. This was misunderstood friendship. Now let's look at the character sketches. Firstly, that of Captain Ronald Dancy, or DSO as we will be calling him. So let's read the character sketch once. Captain Ronald Dancy, DSO, retired an officer who thrived on the excitement of war and languishes on the placidity of peace. After creating his own excitement with horses and women, he gets himself into trouble by stealing some money from a house guest while he himself is a guest. His friends stand by him against the accusation of the man who has lost the money. In the end, however, it is clear that he is guilty. When the police come to arrest him, he goes to his room and shoots himself. So we see that at first he used to fight in wars and had a very languish and more than peaceful lifestyle, right? He had a very exciting life, and after he retired, he might have lacked money, or he just might have lacked excitement, and for that he stole money. He felt really guilty, as we see, because in the end he himself shoots himself, right? So this was Captain Ronald Dancy. Next we have Ferdinand de Lewis, from whom the theft had occurred. A prosperous Jew who had risen to wealth by degrees, having started very modestly, he sells for £1,000 a horse Dancy has given him, and Dancy steals the money. De Lewis is unpopular with the set at the house where he and Dancy are guests. He shows proof form by openly accusing Dancy of the theft before his friends. When Dancy drops his suit for defamation of character against De Lewis, the latter is willing to let bygones be bygones. So he is a very kind fellow, right? As we can see, he is a very kind fellow, and he is a Jew who has risen from nothing to something. So clearly he is very talented in something, right? And anti-Semitism movement happens against him, as he is a Jew among all the rich guests that are staying at the guest house, and while all the others are Christians. So everybody side with Dancy rather than with the truth, which is with De Lewis. Next we have Mabel Dancy. Mabel Dancy, Dancy's wife, who is loyal to him even after she discovers that he is a thief. So again, loyalty is misplaced. Jacob Twisdell, Dancy's attorney, who is tough and straightforward. So two adjectives for him: tough and straightforward, and upright as well, you can say. He discovers that Dancy did indeed take the money and advises him to drop his suit against De Lewis. So he understands that what is right and what is wrong. We clearly see that. But he is an attorney. He has to do his duty if he has been assigned to something. And according to his duty, he even advises Dancy to drop the suit against De Lewis. Next we have Charles Windsor, Dancy and De Lewis's host at Meldon Court, where the theft takes place. So he was the owner of the Meldon Court, and he was too proud and did not want any harm to come to his name, right? So that shows a very aristocratic mindset. Now Poalio Ricardos, an Italian wine merchant whose daughter has been intimate with Dancy. Ricardos threatens to expose Dancy if he does not provide for the daughter. To get the money to pay Ricardos, Dancy steals the £1,000 from De Lewis. So we see that Dancy had some lack of money and he urgently needed money so that he would not be threatened. But the way he got the money, that was wrong. Next we have General Cannon, Dancy's superior officer. When it becomes apparent that Dancy has stolen the money, he offers Dancy a billet in the Spanish War. So he helps Dancy in a manner, and he is very helpful in nature, we can say, and he wants to sort things out. So that was about loyalties, the play.